This is an NBC News special report. Election of the Pope. Here is Lester Holt.
Evening time in Rome, and as we look at the Sistine Chapel, black smoke now pouring from the chimney below the cardinals, this indicating they have taken their first vote as they seek to elect a new pope. The black seems unambiguous that they have failed to reach a consensus. George Weigel, an NBC analyst, is along with Robert Barron, Father Robert Barron. This is pretty much as we expected.
I think so, Lester. The first ballot in any conclave often sees a lot of complementary voting. The serious balloting will begin tomorrow morning. I have to say, having been through this with you 8 years ago, we have solved the ambiguity problem.
We knew immediately
this of the smoke.
Knew immediately this is black smoke, and we should note this is about 2 hours and not quite 2 hours and 10 minutes since they closed the door and officially started the conclave. And Father Barron, as we watch this, I have to ask you, what will this vote? We understand this vote typically is giving favors to friends or that sort of thing, but will they be able to read any tea leaves as to which way this may go from this point on?
I think so. I mean, we don't know what happened in there. Did someone get 50 votes? Did a variety of people get 5 votes? Or did some get 10 or 12? They'll get some indication of momentum, perhaps. They'll know now for the first time, here are some serious players. So the conversations, the preliminary congregations are over, and now for the first time they have some indication. So we just don't know. And they'll be assessing it for sure this evening.
Ann Thompson is in St. Peter's Square, a cool, rainy night here in Rome, and yet a huge crowd turned out here awaiting this smoke. And describe what the reaction was down there as we saw the black smoke begin to come out of the chimney.
Well, Lester, the first thing we heard were cries of fumo, 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 which is smoke in Italian. And then everybody looked, and there are literally thousands of people who have come and stood in the rain watching on big screen TVs because it's sort of hard to see with the naked eye until we started to see those plumes of black smoke. And now you see the people leaving the square. I don't think anybody's particularly surprised that on this first ballot that we got black smoke. As we've been saying all along, there was no clear frontrunner here. And so people came for curiosity. I think people are very excited about this election because they really don't know who's going to become the next pope. And that mystery, everything about this, from the fact there's no frontrunner to the fact that in the 21st century, we're still finding out by a smoke signal as opposed to Twitter or Facebook. I think that's what's drawn people here. Lester?
Ann Thompson in the crowd, if you're just joining us, black smoke emanating now from the Sistine Chapel after the first vote taken by the 115 cardinals who will elect the next pope. They're clearly not there yet. George Weigel, talk about what happens now. This is the one and only vote of this day. What happens tomorrow?
Cardinals will go back to the Vatican guest house tonight for dinner. One can imagine that there will be some serious conversations going on as people try to read off of this initial ballot who's got some momentum or who doesn't. And then at 9:30 tomorrow morning, they will be back inside the Sistine Chapel for 2 ballots in the morning, followed by a lunch break, and then back in there in the afternoon for another 2 ballots if necessary.
The 2 ballots come back to back.
Yes, they do.
They will only burn after the second ballot, unless, of course, they have...
If the first ballot should elect a pope on the second ballot of the conclave, which seems unlikely, that would be earlier on. But I think we could probably expect to see something around noon tomorrow, Rome time.
Huge expectation as the crowd filled St. Peter's Square here. All eyes were on the chimney, as they will be tomorrow. And as we noted, unambiguous. We were able to call it this time from the beginning, as black smoke still pouring out of the Sistine Chapel, ending the first day of the conclave. Again, this a little more than 2 hours after we watched all live here as the doors were closed to the outside world and the 115 cardinals got down to business. We will, of course, be here all day tomorrow as the conclave is in session, and we'll interrupt as things warrant. For now, I'm Lester Holt, NBC News at the Vatican.